Good morning, boys, girls, and silly sausages. On today's wrestling news, I'm going to tell you all about potential backstage heat over Charlotte Flair's NXT push.
Plus, could Goldberg be set to return and face Roman Reigns?
I'm going to tell you which wrestler was injured before last night's AEW Dynamite.
And a huge return on last night's NXT. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Okay, let's kick things off by talking about Charlotte Flair. When the topic of Charlotte Flair comes up, particularly with regards to her getting pushed, it tends to provoke some very strong reactions in human beings. And it turns out that her simultaneous push earlier this year on Raw and NXT, culminating in her becoming NXT champion, may have caused a little bit of frustration behind the scenes in WWE as well. So there's a new report here from Fightful Select talking about the situation, stating that the dual positioning of Charlotte Flair on both shows caused considerable creative friction within the promotion. It is stated that on occasion, the Raw creative team, who had to approve the ideas put forth by the NXT team, would shoot down ideas from NXT. NXT would come up with all this stuff, presumably go, "Hey Raw, hey big brother, is this okay?" And Raw would go, "Doesn't work for me, pal." One of these ideas, apparently, involved inserting Bianca Belair into the feud to make it a triple threat at WrestleMania. This would have then seen Rhea Ripley win the match, with Bianca Belair being there so that Charlotte could lose without having to take the fall. This was shot down, obviously. We ended up with Chaz Flair taking the belt. She beat Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley reacted by crying backstage, which was worse than losing. And then, of course, Charlotte held the title until we got that wonderful triple threat at the TakeOver, in which Rhea Ripley was pinned again. Hey! Io Shirai becoming the champion in that match. And, you know, one of the best title reigns of the year coming out of that. Flair is currently off television, of course. She's been absent since June. She had a surgical procedure. She's got some other stuff going on. Isn't expected to return until Royal Rumble season. But when one NXT source was asked about all of this, they were described as being pessimistic, saying that the NXT writing team should have known what they were getting into when it came to dealing with Charlotte Flair and the Raw booking team. Adam Wilborn, I can tell you are itching to get a takeout, so unleash.
Yeah, I have many opinions on this. Well, at least we got some good ratings off the back of for NXT. Oh, no, you didn't win any Wednesday Night Wars with Charlotte Flair as NXT Women's Champion. Look, I think even WWE, you sense, would look back on this and say, yeah, we probably dropped the ball there. They should not have had Charlotte Flair go over Rhea Ripley. And the other decision of like, oh, well, could just put Bianca Belair in there so Rhea Ripley could pin her at WrestleMania and retain the title. Why couldn't Rhea Ripley just beat Charlotte Flair and then truly be established as a main event player? It just baffles me. And you thought like, oh, okay, well, they're doing this, but they can have this big redemption arc for Rhea Ripley. And they may well still be doing that just without Charlotte Flair. But it didn't feel like that was the plan. It felt like they just took the title off Charlotte Flair because they realised, we're just having to make Charlotte Flair do double duty. No one is a real big fan of that. I guarantee Charlotte probably wasn't as well. It must have been exhausted doing all that. And it didn't change anything for NXT. It made things worse and it pissed off a load of fans. I'm understandable that there is a lot of heat, and I've no doubt that, yeah, like an annoying little cousin or something, NXT was like, what about this? And Raw, as the grumpy older brother, or whatever the relationship is, would have just been like, no. But I'm definitely kind of obviously team NXT more on this one, and the whole booking of that entire feud baffled me. Probably from the moment Charlotte Flair beat Shayna Baszler to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, a lot of confusing choices were made. I mean, the WrestleMania match was really good. Maybe the best pure match over the two nights. I don't know. You might have something like the Boneyard or the Firefly Funhouse above it, but like as a pure wrestling match, it was really great. It's just the choices surrounding it were particularly harmful, I think, to Rhea Ripley. It's a real shame because sometimes WWE would really benefit from just booking with a little bit of balls. That's something they really liked. I call it raisin bald booking because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, just two dumb decisions over that WrestleMania weekend. having Becky Lynch beat Shayna Baszler and having Charlotte Flair beat Rhea Ripley when you could have established two new huge targets in the women's division, and they just went, nah,
don't fancy that.
Right, let's speak about Goldberg. Then he popped up on the bump recently and talked about unfinished business with current Universal Champion Roman Reigns, saying the following. He backed out on me at WrestleMania. He stole my move and he continues to perform it at a subpar level. Let's be perfectly honest. I'm the dude who delivers this spear and I don't think he understands what it's like until I deliver one to him. So Roman, it's coming. I'm coming for you. I may be old, I may be grey, but I'm still Goldberg. Roman Reigns then responded, I never wait in line. I am the attraction. I choose who's next, and that is Kevin Owens. Loads of speculation about Goldberg potentially facing Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship further down the line. People talking about WrestleMania. I, for one, really don't want to see that. Or if we do see it, I want Roman Reigns to murder Goldberg because... yeah, I'm not sat there going, oh no, we didn't get Roman Reigns versus Goldberg at WrestleMania, because it just doesn't do anything for me anymore. I was very much on the Goldberg hype train a few years back with the whole Brock Lesnar thing, but I'm kind of done, if I'm perfectly honest. I like it when he comes back and destroys, Dolph Ziggler at a SummerSlam or whatever.
Yeah.
But in and around a title feud, particularly with this amazing Roman Reigns character, don't need any of that for me. What do you reckon, Andy?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be on the exact same boat as you there. Look, the thing with Goldberg is, over the past few years, yes, the Brock feud, I thought the Brock feud from start to finish was great stuff. The WrestleMania match was awesome. It was just 4 minutes of big lads throwing big bombs. It was so sick. But we've definitely reached a point of diminishing returns with these Goldberg performances. Obviously, we had the Undertaker thing in Saudi Arabia. The Dolph Ziggler match was really well played, as you said, but then the Fiend stuff and then the Braun stuff. Oh my God. His last few outings have not been great. Understandably so, the guy's getting old. He's, even in his recent appearances, you can see he's not quite as big as he used to be and so forth. And to be fair, right, the guy was in ridiculous shape for a man of his age, but time comes for everyone. I feel like you could make it work if it's 2 minutes and Goldberg hits a spear and Reigns just kicks out, because that's the story of the match, right? I do a better spear than you. Well, if Reigns kicks out of that one and then beats Goldberg with his spear, it's a perfect way to tie it up. You can do that in 2 minutes. Do I trust them to do it in 2 minutes and not stretch it out to 5 or 6? Watch a jackhammer, fall over. Not so much, but it is what it is. I think it's definitely happening. WWE.com have uploaded an article on this. They shared the clip, so get ready for it at roadblock end of the Rumble Mania.
Yeah, put it at bloody Fastlane and I'll be all right with it.
Go.
But for God's sake, don't use WrestleMania for this match because, well, we'll get to it in due course. Andy and I have a far better piece of booking for that.
Hell yeah. Nia Jax versus Roman Reigns. Keep it in the family. Let's talk Dynamite for a little bit. Penta LZOM. He was supposed to wrestle in a 6-man tag. It was supposed to be him and Rey Fenix. And Lance Archer. Lance will make him dance against Eddie Kingston and the family last night. That happened, but it was 2-on-3. It was Rey Fenix, it was Lance Archer against the trio of the family. This is because Pentagon was put through a table by the Butcher. At the very start of the match, he was helped to the back, he was carried out. This is because the guy is injured in real life. A report here from Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net stating that a few days ago, Penta was actually hurt in training. So he's carrying some kind of injury. He had to be written out of that match. Now, there's currently no word on how severe the injury is or how long Penta will be out for, but he was clearly unable to compete last night. This comes following a recent knock suffered to his brother, Rey Fenix, of course, which had the changeover in the World Title Eliminator Tournament. It's a shame that this has happened at this time, but in a way, if you look at it now, right, the ongoing storyline, the Butcher, the Blade, Eddie Kingston, 3 people, Pac, Lance Archer, Rey Fenix, 3 people. It's even now, so it shouldn't affect the booking too much, I don't believe, but best wishes to Pentagon in a speedy recovery. He's one hell of a performer.
Yeah, such an awkward time to get an injury with all this murder tripod stuff going on, and yeah, we obviously wish him well in his recovery, but like you say, fingers crossed the storyline can sort of continue with Lance in Penta's spot, and well, I'm just excited to see what the future holds for Pac, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, really, really hope for a speedy recovery for him because, you and I are both huge fans of the Lucha
yes.
Bros, and big things expected from them in 2021. And moving over to NXT, a huge return on last night's show with the return of Karrion Kross. It was sort of teased earlier on in the night, obviously having been teased at TakeOver. We had Scarlett come out to sort of confront Finn Balor whilst he was basically asking who's next for the cat, or I don't know why he keeps talking about kittens and stuff like that. But yeah, he was asking who's going to challenge him next, and we had Pete Dunne and we had Damian Priest, he was walking up the ramp saying, oh, you guys can sort of decide, along with Kyle O'Reilly, I should mention Kyle because we're big fans of him here at WhatCulture, you guys can sort of decide who's next for me. And Scarlett, along with the Karrion Kross big entrance, came out and looked him up and down, and Damian Priest sort of heckled Scarlett and said, oh, if he wants a shot of Finn Balor, he's going to have to go through me. So he did. He killed Damian Priest later on in the show, picking him up, hoying him off the stage through a table. Great to see Karrion Kross back. Such excitement around that world title picture in NXT, Andy.
Yeah, kind of crazy injury recovery from him as well. We've spoken about that a few times. Lazarus, Cena-esque in his recovery powers. Karrion Kross connected huge with so many people from the moment he first arrived with the grand operatic presentation and everything. He's a guy that is going to be a big asset to that brand going forward. So great to see him recover so quickly. Good to see him back on TV. Title scene hitting up. Good stuff.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I think Finn Balor should defend the title, as he's probably going to, against someone else, maybe a Pete Dunne, let's say, at New Year's Evil, and then at the next TakeOver, you have Balor versus Kross, and then at a TakeOver after that, you have Kross as the world champion against the Demon, and that is money. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from J-Man, who says, greetings, you legends. Greetings to you too, J-Man. Who says, two-part question here, if you gents don't mind. Who's your pick to win each of the Royal Rumbles? Also, do you think we'll see actual fans at the event?
I think we'll see some amount of fans, but I don't think it'll be a full arena. I think we'll have, like, I don't know, 10%, 20%, something like that, like we've seen in other American sports. Who's going to win? Big E for the men's Rumble. Feels perfect. Has the same kind of vibe as Drew last year. You know, he's right on the cusp. For the women's Rumble, you know, we spoke about reheating this person earlier in the video. Rhea Ripley. There we go.
Absolutely. 100%. I completely agree with you. Big E, it should be the guy who wins the men's Royal Rumble and goes on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, not bloody Goldberg. And Rhea Ripley, to transition her onto the main roster, whether she wants to be a face or a heel. If you want to do some heel stuff, you can probably do that in the interim in NXT. Fine by me as well. But we've got to pick some others as well. So I'm going to say, let Shayna Baszler win the Women's Royal Rumble.
Okay, good.
Because, I mean, just do what she did at the Elimination Chamber, which baffles me that some fans weren't a fan of that. But just do that. Have her eliminate 29 other... No, you don't have to go that far. But have her eliminate lots of people and re-establish her as the killer that she was in NXT. And men's, if we're not going to have Big E, bollocks, let's have The Rock. I mean, may as well just go for that. Rico Reds gives us our second question of the day, saying, with Impact and AEW working together, should AEW avoid anything dealing with Sting in Impact, including mentioning his past Impact history?
It's an interesting one because Sting's Impact history, for the most part, is very good. Former World Heavyweight Champion and stuff. You know, he had the odd dodgy moment here and there. Obviously, he had to play an unfortunate role in the Victory Road thing with Jeff Hardy. So there's definitely some territory you want to skirt past. But at the same time, if you're going to fully capitalize on this relationship, I think it would make a fair bit of sense to actually talk a little bit about Sting's history there, right? You know, he was an important piece of that puzzle for a long, long time. So if this is going to be a thing that continues for a matter of weeks and it wasn't just one and done with Kenny Omega the other night, I would honestly lean into it a little bit, man. Obviously, stay away from the bad bits, right? You stick those in the bin, some of the Joker stuff.
Whoa.
Avoid.
I have been campaigning for this on the WhatCulture podcast. Bring back Joker Sting, and more importantly than all of this, bring back the guard bird. If anyone remembers, he had a guard bird that guarded Eric Bischoff to make sure he didn't get involved in some main event back in the day. That is what is going to take AEW to the next level, a guard bird. I just, some of it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of bollocks, and you could tell he was just like, who cares? In Impact. I think elements of it you have to sort of allude to. This isn't WWE. You don't have to just pretend like, well, he's been in some other company doing well for quite some time. Like, just embrace it. But like you say, I think, as Andy alluded to, accentuate the positives. Right, final question comes from B-Man. It says, since this incredibly slow burn between Impact and AEW will eventually lead to Omega versus Swan, oh, fingers crossed, what are your thoughts on Moose somehow forcing his way into a match with Omega since he's the real champion of Impact?
Yeah, I mean, Moose is a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed the TNA heavyweight champion gimmick he's been running. He had a nice little match and backstage segment with Chris Bay as well, tag team match as well on this week's episode of Impact. Yeah, I'd love to see Moose get involved, man. I think he's probably one of the better wrestlers on that roster. He's a great performer all around. The Rich Swann match between him and Omega, like they set the tone for that already, right? With Rich Swann not getting into the parking lot. So yeah, I like to see it. It's an interesting visual if you're gonna like have Moose before Swan, even though that would be the hierarchy because Moose is such a big, scary monster. He's massive. But yeah, I'd like to see that. I think it'd be a really good match.
Yeah, I really like that idea as well. My only issue with that whole Rich Swann thing was, why doesn't your security recognise the world champion?
Yeah, good point.
Sorry, what's your name? Who's that? Rich Swann, you say? Yeah, I'm the bloody world champion, mate. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'd like to see it, and hopefully we do eventually get Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega. Let's move on to today's and finally, and a huge announcement breaking overnight from Aubrey Edwards, revealing that Alex Reynolds, John Silver are going to be the next guests on the AEW Unrestricted podcast. Look, we do the best podcast out there. That's a given. WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. But we like to help out the little guys occasionally. So go and check out that podcast because it's been one of the most requested guests, I think, ever, so according to Aubrey. And it's just going to be banter in it. Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Boom.
Can't wait.
That's all. I'm so excited. But yeah, if you like podcasts, WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, of course. And let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. You can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. Today the H stands for Happy Birthday JTG. Someone hire that guy. He's still really good.
Yeah, legend. Happy birthday, JTG. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.